sleeping this weekend. So if you wanna
Yeah,
ask me,
we'll ask you. Yeah, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. Uh, if you're watching the screen, you have three supporters from three different teams and 1 point from the whole weekend on the screen. And so that's the type of podcast you're joining right now. We're going to talk about Chelsea putting an ass whooping on a Spurs. So we're going to enjoy that. At least the weekend ended well for everybody because I really was down, and then I saw that result, and especially the way that game unfolded, like gave me extra joy and something to live for. So I was very happy about that result. So we'll just feast on that. We'll talk about Man City tying with was it Crystal Palace? Alex, Crystal
Crystal
Palace.
Palace. Yeah.
We'll talk about Man United dropping 3 points at home to Nottingham Forest, and maybe why that's not so bad. Talk about Southampton, man, just floating towards the bottom of the ocean like Jack when Rose wouldn't let him on that piece of door after the Titanic sunk. He's just like, boys, they're just going down. They put up a fight. Wasn't an embarrassing game for them, I think. But Lee will tell me how he feels about that. We'll talk about Wolves versus West Ham. It was called El Sacico in England. But to be honest, if you won that game, did you really win? Because now you probably have to keep a coach you don't want to keep. So you could lose the game and lose your coach and end up winning, and you could win the game, keep your coach, and end up losing. Because I don't think the fans are happy with either of those coaches. But let's talk about the usual suspects. We got Lee, Hudson, stand-up comic, Southampton fan. Nice Christmas tree in the back, some chair in your spot. What's up?
I'm all good. Yeah, I got a little bit of a sniffle after dry. We had like a crazy storm in the UK over this weekend, and I went out and did shows in it on Friday.
Damn.
And then I drove to Birmingham for the Villa game on Saturday, and yeah, it was a sketchy drive. I froze during the game, like it was nasty. So I'm glad to be indoors and warm.
So you're a soldier. Like just looking at you in your house, it doesn't look like the weather is shit outside. It just looks like it's a sunny day. So you got good lighting in your crib.
There's no light here at all. It's 1:45 in the morning right now. This is just my lighting.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Your spot is literally lit, fam. And then we got Alex Sevilla, Man City fan, and man, their season is not going according to plan, and I enjoy that. Like I thought they were going to have a resurgence after last week's win and come back, but nope. Crystal Palace, one of the teams that's struggling in the league, held them to a 2-2 draw. And we also want to congratulate Alex because you just tell us what you just did this weekend, Alex, before we get into shitting on your team.
Yeah. So, all right. So yeah, man. Like season's not looking good, man. The season's been we're like you said, right? We're spoiled pants. A little bratty, and at times it's just. But also, team like even Guardiola is getting spoiled, right? He's complaining that he doesn't have players.
No, but I asked you what you did this weekend as a stand-up comic.
As a stand-up comic, I did a like live recording. I basically wanted to get like a 45-minute set recorded, and out of that, probably maybe once we trim it down to hopefully 20, 35 good minutes. So yeah, no,
trim it down to
fun.
50 minutes.
To maybe a 5 minute, go for 45 minutes to a 5 minute set, thing like that. We can do that. No, it was good. It was fun. It was sold out both nights. It was really good. And Saturday it was chaotic because at police there was a parade in Palm Springs scheduled at 6 p.m. I believe 6:30, 6 p.m. A police officer decided to do a wheelie. Like he's the guy. There's a full parade happening. Police loses control of the bike. Ended up basically running over 10 people. The guy lost his hand, and the parade got postponed 2 hours. there was a lot of people that were coming to my show couldn't make it because the whole
Because
city
the cop killed him.
ran over them. No one died. No one died.
No.
It's just some people lost. I mean, the officer lost his arm. Some other people ended up in the hospital.
Man, tax is about to go up in Palm Springs because that's coming
Yeah,
out.
correct, correct.
They're getting
Correct.
sued
Yeah.
for that.
No,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a lot of well, I had a comic who was not couldn't make it because like the whole the yeah it was chaos. It was chaos on Saturday. So it was to go back to City that they started bad the moment City got scored in the minute four.
But we're not going to talk about City first. We're talking
All
about
right,
Chelsea. We just want to see how you. This is the intro.
no,
We're
I
seeing
did.
how you're
So
doing.
yeah, basically me great weekend. Friday fantastic. Friday was like amazing. Saturday not as good because a lot of stuff, including City.
All right, and the person that lost their arm, like now we'll put you in our thoughts and send you some love, and hope you recover as much as you can recover, and make the best out of this terrible parade situation that Alex just mentioned. So I guess we're going to talk about, something that brings us joy, and it's Spurs losing, and especially after they got a 2-goal gift from Cucurella's roller skates that he calls boots that he had on his feet. That the game, the Merseyside derby was suspended because of bad weather. So you should know the next day when you're playing what you're the only player that had to change his boots from what I saw. So how are you in the locker room telling the kit man, no, I'm wearing these red bottoms. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how he made that mistake, and then didn't change them after he gave up the first goal. Kept them on and said, "No, these will. I'm working them in." And then after the second goal, he's like, "All right, let's change them." And it also looked like he was trying to get calls from the ref because he was fouled by his own boots. He's like putting his hands up when he's on the ground. Like, bro, the ref doesn't like this is not a concussion protocol. You slipped. It's gonna happen. So Spurs took advantage of it, took a 2-goal lead, and beat. Apparently, looking like they're going to be world beaters, and they're going to beat Chelsea. And as soon as Cucurella got his boots together, and Chelsea started doing their thing, and Ange Postecoglou kept doing his same thing, which is not changing anything, playing all-out attack against like a midfield and a squad that's way more expensive than him, with better quality players. Like even when United played Chelsea at home, like when Rude was the interim coach, we set up in a way to protect ourselves and give ourselves a chance at least getting a point. And we almost won that game. And we got a penalty and we went ahead. But Ange is, if Klopp is rock and roll football, what is Ange? Ange is just like a heroin addict sharing needles with everybody. He's just out there, just like, let's score again. But you can't have that attitude against lethal teams. You got to change up a little bit. And listen, just to play devil's advocate, even if you get more defensive when you have a lead like that, there's no guarantee that you're going to hold on to a 2-goal lead. But, we'll find out. I'll ask the question after. Who do you blame? Do you blame for what's been happening to Spurs? Where do you blame the people who didn't score the opportunities that were created, that Ange set them up to score? Do you blame Spurs not having the best personnel possible to execute Ange's wishes throughout the entire 90 minutes? Do you blame Ange for not changing? Or do you blame the players for not being able to do what Ange wants him to do? And so, of course, Chelsea being Chelsea and seeing how open Spurs were and how open they played, just said, all right, let's keep doing this. They never put their heads down, when they went down 2-0. And they got Cole Palmer. His confidence is contagious. And Sancho was on one. And Their coach made a few changes tactically with shifting players around. Plus, he got dudes on the bench that could come in and light shit up. And Spurs went down 4-2 and then eventually made it 4-3, but the game was over. What do you guys think? And I don't know exactly if that's an accurate question to ask, but do you blame Postecoglou for this loss?
No.
Okay.
I blame Tottenham Football Club for this loss, because they had Conte, who played like defensive football. They had Nuno, who played defensive football. They had Mourinho for a little while. They broke all those guys as well. This is what Spurs do. It doesn't matter whether you play attacking football, whether you play defending football. Spurs are going to Spurs. That's what's happening. You know, Ryan Mason is already picking out his jacket for his interim manager spell for the 15th time.
Hilarious.
That's what's happening there. And it's beautiful. Like, I love seeing Spurs get smashed, but it's even funnier seeing Spurs get smashed when they get given hope first. And I think it was crucial that Chelsea scored as early as they did with the Sancho goal, because I think the longer that 2-0 sort of sets in, it could have been harder for them. But, you know, great finish from Sancho. And that was, I think, like 5 or 6 minutes after the second goal that he scored that. Like, that game was like 100 miles an hour coming out the gates. With all these goals, it was great entertainment to watch. And I mean, they took some gambles, Tottenham, with both the centre backs as well, playing them both coming off of injuries. That kind of backfired for them too. But I think the main thing was it was head loss from Spurs. Like, they completely lost their heads. Like, give away 2 penalties that are stupid as well.
Yeah.
Like, both times you don't need to make those tackles. You don't need to lunge in on those players. They're 2 really stupid penalties to give away. You know, they caught one off Enzo Fernandez in his post-divorce form as well. I mean, I don't know what that woman was doing to him, but
he's free now.
He is reborn. So yeah, all of that. It's I think it was just it was kind of a self-destruct from Tottenham, as good as Chelsea were as well. I think Spurs didn't help themselves in what they did. And, you know, like I say, Ange can't account for 2 players diving in recklessly in situations they didn't need to. You know, he's got his style of play, and like I say, there's been other styles of play that have been more defensive that haven't worked at Tottenham as well. So I think it's just the club. You know, I'm saying all this in the knowledge that we're playing them this weekend, so I'm really setting myself up for, you know, them to just come and, because I was hoping Tottenham would win, because I wanted that Spurs effect of where they beat a good team and then they lose to a bad team the week after, which would have been us. But now they lost, so maybe we're going to catch the beating. But you know, Martin tried to bring that up in the group chat, and I just said, you know, you can't kill what's already dead. So I'm prepared for whatever happens at St Mary's on Sunday. But yeah, I just think it was just a classic Spurs self-destruct, and I'm here for it.
All right. I mean, I enjoyed it too. Like I said, like, I sparked up even though United had lost, and it was the way Spurs lost, like having a 2-goal lead and watching that game, and then I'm cheering for Chelsea, like I'm a goddamn Chelsea fan, but it's Cole Palmer. You know what I mean? It's Cole Palmer. That dude's infectious. It's like, how do you? And I'm sorry, Alex, but this guy's a star. He's who you need right now. Where is Foden at? What's Foden doing for y'all? Nothing. And this guy, you sold him, and he's worth 100 mil. And like, his stats are through the roof, and he could have helped you guys through this tough period. He's exactly what you need. How do you feel about watching Chelsea's results, and you needing a Cole Palmer as a Man City fan?
Yeah, I mean, well, I hate watching Chelsea because, like, I feel like they got every kind of like prospect, and I'm pretty sure they might get the lap next season. I heard like that's one of the players they're trying to get, and it's all the academy players that I grew up, not that I grew up watching, but that I knew they were on my radar. You know, Labia, Sancho, who's like, I mean, even though he left City, Sancho was ranked. People said like he was better than Foden back when he was in the academy, along with Brahim Diaz and And yeah, now they got Labia, they got Palmer, are basically all, Maresca, who used to be at City and stuff. So yeah, I don't like seeing like all the ex City players succeed, because yeah, we sold them, or they were let go, but now they're showing. I think every time Palmer plays well, you can see that it's just we made the wrong decision and not keeping him.
Martin, you know what? I had a feeling you would join. You know, they had no faith in you. They had no faith in you. You know, because you lost.
Yeah,
and
but
it was
always
embarrassing.
depends on the job. You know, if I'm working on that day, then I cannot join. If I'm available, I will always join.
All right, that's good, man. I'm glad you joined. So we're talking about your game, your loss, your drop points, the lead at home, and you know the how devastated were you?
No,
Let me just
I'm sorry.
finish
You know what,
my
Martin? Sorry. Let Alex finish what he was saying.
yeah, because you were saying about Spurs. As a neutral, I enjoy watching them. Like I think like it's entertaining football. Like they entertain me.
I
Maybe
don't,
that was
but thanks.
yeah, maybe that was no, because like I mean, like recently, like we lost against Spurs, right? Like City got scored 4 goals against Spurs, but
Yeah.
I don't know how, but
Did you enjoy it, really?
even after you know what, I feel like even after they scored 3 goals, and I think we talk about it, like City had like 20 something chances, like that couldn't be in like I for some reason I thought even when we were losing 3-0, I was like, I feel like if we score 1 goal, we might come back, just because all the chances we had, and I think like that's kind of what Chelsea probably felt. They were like, yeah, we're losing 2-0, but we just gotta score one, and we might score four. So I think like as a neutral, I like what I just feel like their games are always wide open, and there's gonna be goals, and there's gonna be it's as a neutral, I enjoy watching it because you never know what you're gonna get, you know.
Yeah, I don't, but I see your point. You know, I don't know why would you enjoy the City's first game, but anyway, I get your point. I do not enjoy this team, unfortunately. I feel like this team is very disappointing. But starting with your question, Ian, was I devastated? No, because Chelsea almost always beats us. That's our kryptonite. That's the toughest opponent
Martin,
for us.
they're not your kryptonite. They're Chelsea.
No, because with City
league
we play
winners.
well. With City we play well. With United, it's one good game, one bad game. With Chelsea, it's almost always a bad game.
But you can't be the kryptonite. The team that's better than you can't be your kryptonite. That means Chelsea would be the kryptonite for every team in the league. It's like Chelsea.
No,
Chelsea's not Southampton's kryptonite.
But every team has a team that is struggling against historically, and that's Chelsea for Spurs. Is the team we struggle against historically. Even if the Chelsea team wasn't very good, they beat us last year, right? They weren't very good. They still beat us in a very weird circumstances, but they did beat us. So it's definitely not surprising to me. Maybe the way the game went a little bit more, but not really, because I'm watching this team this year and I'm not enjoying it because I see no structure. Our defensive plan is non-existent. It's a very naive way of playing football, and I blame Angie for that. As a matter of fact, I think it's time to move on from Angie. I think this is not working, and I don't want us to be this team that is just like providing free entertainment for everybody. That's not
hilarious.
No, I mean,
don't be selfish.
The road
Martin.
to nowhere. This is the road to nowhere. I have a bad luck of supporting two teams that are very exciting to watch, and always beating the Giants and losing the games that they are not supposed to lose, which is Atlanta Hawks and the Spurs. But Atlanta Hawks are getting in some sort of direction where the Spurs are not, and the defensive plan is bad. Almost every single game, Pedro Porro is late or gets easily beat on his flank, and he's just not supposed to be in that setup playing the role he's playing because he's being tracked by everybody. They know that he's the liability, and they track him and they beat him. And what Chelsea did, they're 2-0 down. There should have been 3-0 down because I think Udogie had an amazing chance to make it 3-0. And then what do? They're like, where is Porro? Let's score a goal. Let's get back into the game. And yeah, and they put him 1-on-1 against Sancho, and it's 2-1, and it's a different game. No, it's horrific. Yeah, how naive this football is. Offensively, sure, but this is not the game of football. Is not just one side of the field. I miss Pochettino times. Those were good times where this team had identity. This team really had a balance. and that I enjoyed. This I don't enjoy. This is just, it's just a free fall. It's like playing Nintendo. This is not the way teams should be built.
Can I just jump in 1 second?
Sure.
You know, I remember Klopp when he first got to Liverpool. He had results like this. Like you knew, yeah. He had high scoring games like against Newcastle, not just like the one he had against Newcastle midweek, but like there were games against City where you know they would let in a lot of goals. So like, if let's not blame PAS right now. What if, right? Because a lot of teams play the system and win their leagues. What if what are the players that you need that could probably let PAS play this system, but make you guys a better team in the system?
It's not working. As a matter of fact, sometimes I do post on Instagram account of football clubs that I support. And yesterday I posted that Angelina Jolie would have a better results than Angie as the manager of Tottenham, which I believe is true, because she would just probably play more conservative. No, this system is not working. It's not working. It's not working. It's not working. You can work sometimes, but you have to have different versions. Version A, B, C, D, and E. You know, you can't play the same way every single game. This just makes it's naive. It's like playing even if you play Football Manager. I used to play a long time ago, the computer game Football Manager. You have to change your lineup. You have to change your strategy. Change players, you know, like you adjust to what the opponent is presenting, you know. And here is the thing about Chelsea, which I heavily criticized for a couple of different manager stints. I think this manager knows what he's doing. He's really smart, and he knows exactly how to adjust even during the game. He made adjustments during this game that worked. It's not just miracle. Like he didn't like just put the team out there and it's, you know, 90 minutes, you guys do whatever you do. No, he adjusted. You know, it's okay. This is how it started. This is what I need to do. And they did. And they dominated in the second half. They dominated the game. They completely dominated the game in the second half. And the game was already open. It was 2-1. So this is what I'm missing from Angie. He has very good ideas, but he's pretty much throwing them out there and makes no adjustments. And sometimes you have to make adjustments. You have to learn. You have to, you know, it's not just you're playing the game against like a computer simulation. This is not how the game of football works. That there's a computer simulation. You have an idea, come up with an idea, and then it's a simulation, and whatever happens. No, the opponent will react, and you have to react to him reacting, and then counter reacting and reacting and more, and make adjustments. And he's just not good with that. And unless he dramatically improves that side of his management, or we need to move on, because he has good ideas, but unfortunately his during the game management is not good.
You know, this is one of the sanest, most on point Spurs analysis I've heard from you. And it's been a long time coming, because you've been talking about Spurs.
Because I was serious.
But I'm like, you know what? There's nothing wrong with any of this statement. I'm like, all right, Martin. Yeah, you're right. And should make adjustments, and just like Football Manager, but he's playing in fantasy mode the whole way through. So yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so I don't like it. You know, like I know it could be fun to watch for other people. It's like watching some MLS games when that end 5-4, 4-3. You know, I'm not involved. You know, okay, fun. But for me, it's not fun, because it's like over and over again the same. We beat United, and then we lost to Ipswich in a horrific way. We beat City, and now we lost Bournemouth and Chelsea. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
But you got to give Bournemouth their props. They're no chopped liver. Like they're above you in the table. They're above us in the table. They're super competitive. They're not the Bournemouth that came into the league from promotion like 2 seasons ago. This is a different Bournemouth, bro.
I agree, but good for them. Not great look for us.
Right.
For them. Not great look for us, though.
And I think things are bad when Martin is dishing out rational takes. Like, they just broke him.
They broke him into sense. This is Martin's insanity making sense. You know, that's yeah, man. But you know, Martin, I just thank you, man, because it made me feel better. Your loss. And
No,
I keep saying that.
We'll get to you guys too. It's pretty much very similar. No, it's different, but
It's different.
There are some problems that are pretty similar, right? But it's different. It's different though.
Spurs have lost the same amount of games this season as West Ham, and their fans are like losing their minds. So
yeah.
Martin,
Oh,
real quick, what do you think? Like, I haven't heard what's happening with Son. I know his contract ends like this summer. Like you, as a fan, as a Spurs fans, would you want him kind of like go play somewhere else?
No. I want. He's the true Tottenham player. He needs to stay. I know that United want to snatch him, and they might. Like who knows? We'll see. And he's still a very good player. I think I'll definitely keep him.
I saw that. How legit is that? Like, so because United gets linked with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. He's a very good player. Why not?
United's the only team where the transfer window is closed. It's not even close to transfer season. And you see links to people. And you're like, that guy plays tennis. How is he linked to United? He's not even a soccer player. So now this Son thing came up. I just ignored it.
Well, listen, anytime a team is struggling, that happened to Chelsea a year ago, 2 years ago, and you feel like, like those teams will be trying to improve their roster. But I think that's the road to nowhere for United. If once we get to United, I'll say my United piece. But to be quite honest with you, it's working at Chelsea right now because they kind of stabilized. If you just keep changing the team, that's not going to work ever. You have to stabilize at some point. I think that because Chelsea is working right now because they stabilized and they have their players, they have their style, and they have their manager who knows what he's doing, and that's why it's working. It wasn't working before when they were changing everything all the time.
Well, I do want to go to Man City because Alex doesn't have all the time on the pod, but let's just kick Arsenal in the stomachs while it's on its knees a little bit. They tied 1-1 versus Fulham. And one of the funniest things I did see from this weekend was I was watching Vibe at 5 and it had Rio on. And what's his name? What's the Arsenal guy that's on Vibe at 5? I forgot his name for a second. It just slipped my mind. But he was doing the game live on TalkSport. And Arsenal did go ahead in that game for a second until VAR was like, hold up, that ain't a goal. And it's Joe Bayer. And the way Joe was celebrating that goal, there was nothing better than VAR taking that goal away. And the only thing that's on the level of like what happened to Spurs is Arsenal fans from Arsenal Fan TV not getting what they want, which is a win and 3 points. And plus, with all the jeopardy that they put on every game this season, they just put so much jeopardy on every game. Arsenal fans, like, you have to win. There's no margin for error. Liverpool's ahead, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it's so funny. And it's like they've forgotten how many games there are in a season. Like, Arsenal could still win the league. No matter that they dropped points, no matter that Liverpool didn't play this weekend because of a storm, no matter that Chelsea's ahead of them. But that's the funny part. Like, there's teams this season that are ahead of them that it's embarrassing for Arsenal, for these teams to be ahead of them, because they're in the place that Arsenal should be, especially when Man City is faltering. So I just want to bring some special attention to Arsenal tying because it's a loss for them, and that's fun. So let's talk about Man City. 2-2 versus Crystal Palace. How did that game play out? What happened, Alex? What the fuck is going on with your team?
You know what? I'm going to be completely honest. I woke up 10 minutes into the game because the night before, as I mentioned, I was doing my special. I get home like at 1 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning. My alarm, it's basically waking me up at 7 to watch a game. I snooze for 5 minutes. Alarm goes on again. I'm like, all right, let's go turn the TV on. I turn the TV on. We're already losing the game. It's 4 minutes into the game. And I was like, okay, it's gonna be one of these days. So I went back and I went back like 2 minutes to see how did he get scored, corner, and it's ridiculous because I think like Walker, I love Walker, I respect him so much. I think he's one of the probably because I don't know, maybe like one of the best right backs in the Premier League history. I don't know, in my opinion, one of the best. And
Yeah,
but
for sure.
he keeps making so many mistakes. Like that corner that he got scored on, he's complaining. Like he did not jump for the ball, and then he's turning around and complaining to the team. And I'm like, dude, that's you. Like that's on you. Second goal, also Walker let a guy on sides. Oh, it might have been. I don't know if I got. No, yeah, I got it mixed up. The first goal was Walker let a guy on sides. We got scored on. The second goal, Walker basically he lost his mark on defense. So in the past, I think like City players will be making mistakes. I think like every team makes mistakes, but we had our outputting goals, scoring goals. We were very forgiving. Well, some of silly mistakes that our players will make because we had chances, we're creating chances. We will outscore the teams. Now we're not scoring as many goals. We're not producing. So all the mistakes that we're doing, they're haunting us. And now it's basically the reality is just I think like City has always like I think like even our defense has not always been as good as people make it seem. But at attack, that's how we're having Callan in top, De Bruyne. That's kind of what failed us a lot of the times, and so far we're not doing it. So now all the mistakes that we're doing, like we're losing points, we're not winning games. So that's where you see Pep scratching his head and telling.
You know what was the biggest mistake you've made? It came to me yesterday. The biggest mistake, and that's the main reason why the City is where it is right now, because you are always able to retool. You were always able to find these 1-2 players and find them at the right moment, buy them at the right moment, replace the players that are not serving anymore or left. And I'm watching the game yesterday, and I'm like, I have this light bulb in my head. Cole Palmer, you messed that up big time, because he would be perfect for this team. He would be perfect for the City team. And
Martin,
he messed that up so much.
Martin, it's almost as if you were on the podcast earlier when I was throwing Cole Palmer in his face before you came on.
Unbelievable. He would solve every problem pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, and I think like it's one of those things that at that time, I mean, you had just won the treble, and there's a player that wants to go. You're like saying like, okay, like you can go. But I think like I think it would have been a different situation if City had not been winning as much. But I don't know. I think like it was the wrong decision to let him go. But at the same time, if I think like Guardiola has always been of the idea if a player doesn't want to be at City or at any team, Guardiola's team, you're more than welcome to walk away. I don't agree with that because I think like it's a talent. Like don't let him go.
You shouldn't put a clause in his even let's say they didn't think that he's ready to play. You should put the clause that you can buy him back within 3 years for this and this and this, and that was a mistake too.
You don't have a buyback clause for Cole Palmer? Every team has a buyback.
I think like most teams, like I think like at that level, right? When you're buying to Madrid, when you're buying to like United, when you're selling like those teams, you don't put buyback. You cannot do that.
We have a lot of buyback clauses for all our youth players that we just sold.
When you're buying like I think like again what I've seen like when City is dealing with Arsenal, when City has bought players from big teams and stuff, that clause is not really you cannot. That's kind of like more like with smaller teams when we sell a player for like 10 million and we can get it back for 25 or whatever. But
there's a lot of irony in your team because I'm teasing you about Cole Palmer, but there's several ex-Man City players thriving all over this league, this very same league, that you could use right now that, like on Ipswich, the Lap, even down to Sancho and at the game he had yesterday. You could use
from Aston Villa,
you could use a Sancho. You don't got no left player. You know what I'm saying? And say even the guy from Lavia, that was your guy. You could use a Lavia right now. Like it's you guys are. Listen, great academy. Sometimes you should consider using it. That's all I'm saying. Like try using your academy sometimes. Don't be like just here. You want some prime Man City future products because the people will use them if you don't. Where should we go next? Or does anybody else want to say anything to Alex about
Yeah,
his
I
shit
think
team?
it seems like it's the end of the road for this setup. I think there will be changes. There have to be changes. This team is burned out, and there have to be changes. De
I
Bruyne,
think like
probably some other
I think in the
players.
winter time, I think like in winter, I wouldn't be surprised if they go and spend like I don't know 200 million or whatever, because I think like
In the current situation, they're kind of in, and Mourinho recently kind of, I think he
he made a comment about it.
they I think they asked him in Turkey at the press conference, like that he compare him to Guardiola, that Guardiola won 6 titles and he only won 3, but he said he doesn't have 60
105 charges.
115.
Yeah. I think
I mean,
Guardiola, I think Mourinho said 105 though. He took 10 off for some reason, but he knew it was 100 something.
the irony is like Mourinho also has those charges to himself. Like Chelsea's also kind of been accused for the same stuff that similar stuff, and he also had a bunch of resources that Guardiola had when he
Yeah,
was
of
at
course. He
Chelsea.
was there at the beginning of Abramovich era when they were just buying everybody. Of course.
I don't
Yeah,
know. It was
I think like if Klopp would have said it, I think like Klopp would have been like, all right, like this guy has more of a valid point to say. But coming from Mourinho is like you were in Madrid, you were in Chelsea, you had all the players at your disposal.
I'm
Let's
not
talk-
buying it that it's
Go ahead.
a big crisis at City though. I just think it needs like a little recalibration. It's not way off because they've still been dominating a lot of those games as well, just not finishing chances. Some unlucky stuff. Like I thought the Rico Lewis red card was stupid in that game. Like never a red card. Never a red card.
He got a that's some stuff, right? Like about VAR, like it was a yellow card because yellow cards cannot be reviewed by VAR.
Yeah,
he gets sent off, but it's a red card now. But yeah.
It's that's never a sending off. It's that was stupid. But yeah, I just feel like because I feel like City kind of showed in the Forest game midweek they went back to doing what they normally do. They dispatched Forest like with ease midweek. And I kind of feel like that they look like City again in that game. I think there's still players that have got so much more to give. Like people have spoken about Foden. Obviously, he's been injured the last couple of games, but like he's not really contributed at all this season. I think it wouldn't surprise me if he comes back after this injury and tears it up. He's got the ability to. Haaland's got the ability to start going on a scoring run. I still think there's so much more to come from this team, and I don't think it's going to require too much to get it back firing again. Maybe a CDM in the window, but again, I don't think City will spend hundreds of millions in the window because no one really does that in January. It's not the right time to do it. I think Pep is smart enough to wait until the summer for the right players to be available because a lot of the times you're not going to get the people you want in January. Teams don't want to let them go. So he might be able to prize a CDM out of someone, but I can't see it being like a full blown, we're going to spend loads on multiple players. I think it will just be a little recalibration. I think City will finish top 3 easily come the end of the season, which wouldn't be a disaster. Every team has an off season. I think they'll be closer than they are though right now come the end of the season.
Yeah, I like how you said top 3, and you said it nonchalantly, but that is not normal for City. So that's as much as like when City falls off, being mentioned as top 3 is falling off, which is a big deal because it's City.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I don't think they're totally done. I'm just waiting a little bit more to call it. Like right now, they're on life support, and when I say life support, I mean top 3 finish also. But they're so devastating that that's as far as a fall off. Their life support bar is much higher than everybody else's. But they're torn and ravaged by age and injuries in all the wrong places to prevent them from getting over the hill in certain games that they normally would get over the hill in. So, but I just need to see what their form is going to be, especially coming into Christmas. Like if they start winning, because they might start winning, or they might start doing tie win loss.
That is normally when, like, I think, like, over the past couple of seasons, like during like December rolls in, and somehow Guardiola just knows how to, like, just put in like 7 wins back to back to back to back, and all of a sudden you're like, how did they just get 20 something points out of 30? Like, it's just, I think, like the fact you're playing every 3 days. I think Guardiola just knows how to do it. But like tomorrow we play against, I think tomorrow Wednesday we play against Juventus, and he was saying that there's only three. He only has two center backs, which I feel like it's fine. We have two center backs, but he's already sensed he's not cap. Oh, I think actually he only said he only had three defenders to play on Wednesday. I'm like, you're making a bigger deal than it is, but I think he should. I can see frustration every press conference, and I hadn't seen that in the past from him. I think in the past he was very like, I think, like, I don't know. I think like it's getting on me because I'm like, you're not the same Pep that you were from 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I was saying that, man. It's like people used to get on Ten Hag, said, look at his press conferences. But I say, hey, man, I was saying this last year, when you're losing, it ain't easy. And I always went back to Pep's first season, which wasn't a bad season, but he fumbled through a lot of those press conferences. It's only because we knew that he was Pep that he just needs a season to feel out this year. But also, I use Klopp as a analogy for how Spurs are this year. We can use Liverpool as an analogy for how City are this year. Like Klopp had 2 seasons where he had, after successful seasons, had injuries that hurt how his team played and how his results were. And this might be Guardiola's Klopp season when the injuries are just too much and you can't get the results. Like one time, Liverpool had no defense, and even the defenders that they brought in to replace the injured defenders got injured, and that was season. I think they barely like finished 4th, but they made it somehow. Then there was a season when they realized in the middle of the season that these midfielders are done. They used up. We did everything that we can with them, and I feel like that's where City is kind of right now. And they just, let's see if they can figure it out this year, or it's going to be next year. Somebody wants to say something.
I agree with Lee. I'll just narrow it down. He said top 3. He sees City top 3. I also potentially see them top 3, but only as the 3. Yeah, I think the first 2 teams will be Liverpool and Chelsea. Liverpool will probably win the league, and Chelsea will finish second, and they will compete with Arsenal for the 3rd place, and maybe some other teams will still challenge them because, to be quite honest with you, it's below Liverpool and Chelsea. It's the game of weaknesses. Who's got more weaknesses? There could be a surprising top 4 finish this year. It could be someone you don't expect, like Nottingham maybe finishing top 4. I don't think so, but it's not impossible because those, the first team is clearly the best team. The second team is clearly the second best team, and potentially a contender next year to win it all. And below that, it's two teams that have problems, which is City and Arsenal, and then teams that are awful like us and United, and teams that are overachieving.
All right. So I was going to talk about United since you brought them up, but I don't want to talk about United. I want to hear what you have to say, Martin, and everybody else about United, and then I'll tell you my United deal on the game and just where I think we're at.
Well, the problem with United is I think you guys made a wrong hire. I really do, and it's not a joke. I'm not being ironic. I really felt like Gareth Southgate was the guy to be the right manager.
Here he is.
No, I do. I think
he's
getting organized, and he would probably win some trophies. And
he's back, Martin.
No, I think Gareth Southgate is very underrated as a manager. He did very well as an England manager. They did very well. I think they will not do as well moving forward as they did under Southgate. I think it was boring at times, but it worked. It was what I'm missing. Like you guys keep saying how entertaining the Spurs are. I don't want us to be entertaining. I want us to be to have some sort of style that is getting us results every game or almost every game, and this is not the way it works. You know, with
So are you saying you want
kind of
Southgate as
expect-
Spurs' next coach? Is that what you're
Hmm?
saying? Is that you saying that you want
I
Southgate as
would
Spurs' next
rather
coach?
have Southgate than Angie. Yeah, I would rather
Damn.
have Southgate. Yeah, I would rather have Southgate. I think Southgate is underrated. He keeps.
We were saying
keeping
before
this-
you came on though that you had Conte, you had Nuno, you had guys that play
Yeah,
a
but
more
Conte
defensive
is
style, and you broke them.
Conte's
It's the club.
crazy.
It's the club that's broken, not the management.
No, Conte is just a maniac, which Southgate is not. Southgate lets players be in the front row. It allows players to be stars. He doesn't need to be a star. I like him. I think he's a very underrated manager. He's not the best manager in the world, but he's solid and he knows the English game and he knows he gets along with English players and he was a good player and he was a good manager after that. I think he's very underrated. It's hard to be a manager of England. I feel like. So you missed that hire, and because you missed that hire, now the sporting director left because he wanted Southgate apparently to be the manager. He didn't want Amorim to be the next manager. So now you got rid of a very respected guy, and that's not a good look. And I don't think this manager is the right fit for United. I don't think that's the right. It's pretty much like Ten Hag 2.0 situation where you bring an international manager that has to learn the game, learn the Premier League. It will take a while. It may work. It may not. But instead,
How many Premier League games has Southgate managed?
Instead, you had the guy who knows the English football, who knows the best English players. He was able to work with them successfully with guys like Rashford, for example, Luke Shaw. And he would I would think with Southgate, United would have finished top 4 this season. With Amorim, I'm pretty sure United will not finish top 4. May not even finish top 6.
Who wants to go next? And then I'll respond.
United wouldn't have been finishing top 4, whoever came in. And yeah, Southgate, who knows what he would have been like, but he's managed a handful of games in the Premier League when he wasn't qualified, when he was at Middlesbrough. He's done nothing in club football ever. And you say about managing English players, how many English players do Tottenham have in their starting lineup? Really? Like, you've got to be able to manage all sorts of like diversity as a Premier League manager. Because you've only got maybe 2 or 3 English players in your starting lineup. So managing English players, that doesn't even come into it as well. Southgate has done that. He was very well suited to international football. And he did a great job for England, but I think he would be a terrible club manager. And there's a reason why he's even come out and said that he doesn't want to manage a club, potentially. He said he wants to go into like the motivational speaking world or like heading up an organization rather than being like a day-to-day club manager. So yeah, I think
well this United team, this locker room needs a motivational speaker, I'll tell you that. They definitely need a motivational speaker because they're not motivated. I'll tell you, when I keep watching United, they don't seem to be very motivated.
If you listen to Amorim though, he's a very good speaker on that. Like he is like a culture guy. That's what got him the success at Sporting Lisbon. Is what?
Does he even speak English though?
Yeah, his English is brilliant. His English is fantastic. And I think going into a club like United, who are a mess, there's always going to be teething problems. I don't think there's a single manager in the world that would walk into United and get them on like a 10-game win streak. That ain't going to happen.
Not in this league.
This is a guy that's been there for 4 games, 0 transfer windows kind of thing. So I'm not reading anything into it like prematurely. There's been some good signs. There's been some worrying signs, but I don't think he's responsible for the worrying signs.
Oh no,
he's not responsible for Onana falling on his ass.
No, don't get me wrong.
Second goal.
I don't think that he did anything wrong. Precisely with the team. I think he's a good manager. I don't think he's the right fit for this particular club. I don't think he's a bad manager. No, I think he'll be better. For example, even for the City, he'll be a better fit. And with his style of football, with his ideas, I just don't think that's gonna work at United. But that's just me.
This is what I think. I feel like, so I was listening to something, and when Amorim went to Sporting, his first games were against all the top teams in the Portuguese league, and he won all of them. Now, if I had to guess, and he won them with this system, but if I had to guess, I feel like he probably played a more defensive version of this system and probably counted before he could build this Lisbon team up to what it became. Before he had goal scorers and stuff like that. So but I think Amarin came to United and be like, and when he was hired, he promised maybe the board like an attacking version of his system. And I feel like he needs to use the defensive version of the system first to build into the attacking version of this system, and choose which games to be more attacking and which games to be more defensive, and have no shame in his game. So I feel like against Nottingham Forest, like us being attacking and using the attacking version of this system played right into their hands. I also feel like if United was having a good season, we could have still lost to Nottingham Forest, because this is who Nottingham Forest are now. And you have to accept when teams have turned the corner and they are playing different than their history. And Nottingham Forest is 5th. They got some good scouts. They've beaten better teams than us, and have a coach who's 4 games into his Premier League career. So maybe he should have made a defensive adjustment, even though we were at home, and tried to play the defensive version of his system. Same thing when we played Arsenal. We probably up there just try to get a point instead of like, there's got to be a way, like you were saying, Martin, about how you have to make adjustments, and Ange doesn't make those adjustments. I feel like that's what Amarin has to do with his system. To like, there's just some games, even when you think Manchester United attacked all the time. I've heard Gary Neville say they didn't attack all the time. Sometimes they would sit back with Ferguson. So I think Amarin is trying to deliver too much. I'm not mad at his lineups, but I just feel like use your system, let us practice how to be more defensive with it, counter, and then grow into this attacking team, as opposed to trying to deliver this attacking team and kind of leaves us open to lose to teams like Forest and I don't think there's much you could have done against the Arsenal game. I had a feeling we weren't going to win that. The Ipswich game, they're kind of at the bottom of the table, but a lot of their losses have been like they could have won. So I'm not even surprised that we dropped points or just tied with Ipswich. But I'm also happy to go through the growing pains of losing some games. I just want to see some progress. And you're just not going to like, it's like stand-up, right? You have to bomb to get better. There's no way. You just have to bomb to get better. And you have to like look at the bomb footage, see what you did wrong, and just be like, all right, don't say this next time. Oh, I was nervous there. Don't show any fear. And you have to like build everything up from each bomb to get better. It's not just the kills that make you better. I've had bombs that's made me better than any kill. So as a comic, I'm looking at United as a team that has a brand new coach. And I joke around and say, this is our preseason, midseason. It literally is. It literally is. And another thing that gives me faith is I don't think we need to spend a lot of money to improve this team. One, because of the players we have here, but also Amarin's teams run a lot. But the players that he has had at Sporting that were running a lot, they weren't expensive players. So I feel like we can get some cheap players that can improve our team, either from our academy or just from places where we need that style of player that will do good in his system, that's not expensive, that will become big names when they play for us. So I have to take these L's now and like root for the manager and root for the team. And then the Dan Ashcroft thing is not a good look. It's Dan, right? Dan Ashcroft.
Ashworth.
Dan Ashworth, my bad.
Yeah.
It's not a good look, but it's football, man, and things aren't always smooth. As a United fan, shit ain't been smooth since Ferguson left. So this is one of those bumps, but I don't know why it didn't work out. We do know they didn't get along. Saying it was an amicable split is bullshit. There's no such thing. You're just making it look like an amicable split in the public. There had to be so much beef that in 5 months, the guy's gone. So fans aren't stupid. Yeah, you can't be like, hey, he said this and he said that, and then we said this and we said that. But we ain't stupid. So fine, he's gone. And hopefully the people who are there are the real ones that have made us progress in certain ways that we have progressed so far. As far like I like our recruitment for the summer. I like our summer transfer window. I felt like we did good. We got some good quality in there. Mazraoui, I feel like DeLitt is good. He's been playing like a tiger. And he's been like confident on the ball. And as far as the Forest game, I don't know why you would put Tierney, our shortest player, a Game of Thrones Tierney, to guard. Like, what's the big guy from Game of Thrones? They had the two big brothers, the giants that they ended up having a battle in the last scene of this last season, like against him on a corner. So that just making mistakes like that. And I don't know what happened with Onana on that shot from Gibbs White. That you're a goalkeeper. Maybe you can explain what he might have been thinking.
He glitched out. I don't know what the hell was happening there.
Yeah. But I feel like, and people are complaining about, like, why are we playing one team one game and one team the other game? It's an audit. Like Ineos came in and they did an audit of all our employees and said, I get rid of 250 people. And now he's doing an audit of this team. You can't cheat the audit. And you have to do a full audit in order so that when you add the numbers up at the end of the season, they make sense. So let's go through the pain of this full audit. And that's all I got to say.
Yeah, I gotta bounce, but I just wanna.
You gotta leave early, like City did during the game against the Crystal Palace.
I just hope, since you're talking about bumps, I just hope Martinez has a bump and Onana also bumps next week against City. And you know what? It's all good. It's part of the learning process. So
yeah, we got two podcast derbies next week. Do you have time to just talk about this Man United versus City?
You know what? I just honestly I think City is also like a little crisis of ourselves. So I think whoever can I don't know. I don't think you guys are in a crisis. Like I don't think we're in a crisis either. But I think it can become a little if City loses, I can already see, whoa, City's blah blah. It's gonna
crisis like 2 weeks ago. What are you talking about?
What?
You're in crisis for like 2 months.
No, that's what I'm saying. But it's not really such a bad crisis. But it is. I think if we somehow not win against United, I can see this being escalated. And also, I think if once United loses, it's gonna get escalated. So I think it's gonna get escalated regardless. Whoever wins, somebody's gonna be a little crisis for one of the Manchester teams.
Listen, this derby of United versus City reminds me of a story of two ugly girls going on a date.
Nah, doesn't compute, Martin.
But Ian, I will be calling you in the morning, texting you in the morning after City wins. So have your phone on.
I don't even. You said that with no chest. I don't even. You said that with no chest.
Well, it's not going to be a great Manchester derby, but if you want to talk about the other podcast derby, I'll tell you what, it's not going to be much better.
Well, I know exactly. Now talking about two ugly girls, Southampton versus Spurs. Oh, yeah. But anybody else want to talk about the Manchester derby and who do you think is going to win this? And then we'll talk about Southampton and then Southampton versus.
City United, I see a draw. Us against Southampton, it could be either us winning 5-0 or losing 5-0.
Hilarious.
City wins 3-1 against United. And Southampton wins 1-0 against Spurs.
Really? Okay. All right. It's possible.
No, actually, you know what? I think
it's
there's gonna be
possible.
like a three. I think it's gonna be like a
I
lot of
don't think it's
goals.
gonna be a 1-0 type of a game,
I
though.
know. You're right. Like a 4-2 or something like that.
No, someone's going to win 3-2, and I don't even know who it's going to be. No one's keeping a clean sheet. I know that much.
Is that on Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
Sunday. So it's like the warm up to the City United.
No, it's 7 p.m. here, so it'll be on at like 11 a.m. for you guys. It's a late game. They don't normally do them as late on a Sunday. It's a different one.
So the Man United City is the one that's like we're warming up the audience for you guys. That's good.
No, I just hope people will leave or
the openers
before that game. So that kind of a warming up from you guys.
I wish everyone in the podcast except Ian good luck for next week. So both of you guys, good luck, man.
Why me? Oh, okay, I get it. I get it. Let me just say my 2 cents on City. It's always tough to go to City and play and win at City. I just hope to get a point. But I feel like we have way less injuries than they do. We do have injuries, but way less than we normally did, especially after last year. And maybe the guys will, this might be one of our turning points. We're going to need many of them throughout the season, but we have to look at this as an opportunity because City are clearly banged up. And if we kind of like had our way with Crystal Palace, I don't think I think we tied that game. So if Crystal Palace can get points from them, even though we're going to City, and it's going to be a derby, those fans are going to try to create an atmosphere. But it would be great to kick Pep when he's down. So I hope our confidence should be higher than it normally would be going into this game. So I say we can get a tie out of it. Let's see what that Southampton do, man. What happened this week? And then after this, we'll talk about the other podcast derby between Spurs and Southampton.
I mean, even before this game, I'd accepted our fate. I talked last week about how in our relegation season, we had 12 points after 2 games, 12 points after 12 games, sorry, and still went down bottom place. And this year, after 12 games, we were on 4 points. So, the writing's been on the wall, kind of thing. And let's face it, in isolation, if you look at nothing else, a 1-0 loss away to Villa isn't the worst result in the world. But I was there. I watched it. I drove 2 and a bit hours in a storm to get there. Other games in the country were being called off because of this storm. I stood there. I had a woolly hat on, like a beanie hat on. I had a hood up. I had 5 layers on, freezing my ass off in this wind in my face, the rain coming down, and just watched a terrible, terrible performance. We had 0 shots on target.
Damn.
Which has happened more than once this season. And they were there for the taking early on. We robbed the ball off them in their half a couple of times, and the goal was there to be shot at, but we took too many touches or we tried to pass the ball when it wasn't on. And I was like, this ain't going to be our day. And then, the manager's annoying me now. He had a little criticism of the fans after the game because just before Villa scored, the ball was in our area, went back to the goalkeeper. He tries to make a 5-yard pass to a defender in the box who has 2 Villa players on him. Mm-hmm. And we lose the ball, and it requires a last-ditch challenge to stop Villa from scoring a really sort of stupid goal. And we shouldn't be making those passes. A goalkeeper shouldn't be passing to a defender inside the own box when that defender has 2 Villa players on him. That's not going to end well.
Right.
And then the next time the ball went back to our keeper a few seconds after this, he kicks it long. And we all cheered ironically because our keepers never kick long. And then the ball went out for a throw-in. The throw comes in. It goes to one of our defenders. Our defender misjudged the ball. Villa break through and score. And the manager seemed to blame it on the fans, booing the plane in our own box, and then the ironic cheering when the keeper kicked long on the goal. And no one, like all the fans I've spoken to and seen the comments from online are enraged by that, because it's like, come on, like that's not on us. Like, this is like we've equaled the record now for the most mistakes leading to goals. We were one away from it last week after midweek after the capitulation against Chelsea. And then we equaled it with the one we gave away this Saturday. But then it was a bad game as well. Villa weren't good. Villa weren't good at all, but we were way worse in terms of we offered nothing going forwards. We kept possession for periods, did nothing with it. It was boring. Villa were boring. We were boring. The game was boring. And then I had to drive 2.5 hours home in the storm again.
Damn.
Afterwards, while my hands and my face were like thawing out. Just a horrible day for football. It was, oh man, it was bad. And the thing is, I don't even know what we do for the rest of the season now, because it's done. Like, we ain't staying up. There's not, like, it would be like us staying up now would be more of an achievement than Leicester winning the Premier League.
Damn.
Like, there's more chance of Diddy walking free than us staying up. Like, it's not happening. Because we're just cooked. Like, it's done. It's finished. So we can change the manager, but I don't know what that would achieve right now. It depends if we're looking to keep the current manager for when we're back in the Championship. When I'm sitting here doing the Championship updates next season. Because whoever we hire now, we're hiring them for the Championship. If we sack the manager, and who as a manager wants to do that? The only reason a manager might take us is to get a job quickly elsewhere, which Marco Silva did once. The current Fulham manager, he came in at Hull one season when they were almost certain to go down. He got some really good results and impressed there. They still went down, but he immediately left that summer to another Premier League job because people were like, oh, he's good in the Premier League. So that would literally be the only reason a manager would join us right now. And that isn't it's rare that you will get a good manager in that situation.
Steve Cooper's free.
You
don't rate him?
I don't mind Cooper. I don't mind Cooper at all.
And he's good in the Championship.
Yeah, but our current manager could be okay in the Championship. So it depends. The players like him. The style of football, we just not got the players to do it consistently anyway. Like, we look good in patches, but we haven't got enough going forward. All our forwards are Championship level. There's only a handful of players in this team that I really rate for this level, like Dibbling, Ramsdale, Fernandez.
Did Dibbling have a good game?
He did. He was okay.
Lloyd was raving. Lloyd was at the game.
Yeah.
It's funny because he goes, he's a Villa, season ticket holder. So I should have tried to link you two up. And but there was a player, and I think it was Dibbling that he was raving about.
Yeah, it probably would have been Dibbling or Fernandez. They're our two best. Like I say, I rate Ramsdale's obviously a Premier League quality player. Walker Peters is a Premier League player, but there's so many in our team who just aren't. Paul Onuachu's still injured, but there's rumours he might be back for Tottenham, which
I would love to see that.
I would love, because he'll terrorise whichever either injured or second-rate centre-backs Tottenham put out. But I mean, yeah, we're just it is what it is now. I don't know where this goes. Be interesting to see if Wolves fire Gary O'Neill after losing today.
You know where it goes. You just said where it goes.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Wolves fire O'Neill after tonight's result, and if they do, who they go and hire, because that would let me know what sort of manager we might have been able to get. Because of all the free managers, there's two that would be ideal for me if we did pull the trigger, but I don't think either of them would join us. So I'd love Graham Potter. He was a former Southampton player. I like the work he's done, but he wouldn't come to us. Like, he's got his sets, you know, he's set his sights higher than us. The other one is Roger Schmidt, who I think is criminally underrated, one of the best managers in Europe, in my opinion. He was at Benfica most recently, PSV Eindhoven before that, Leverkusen prior to that. I had a little spell out in China as well, which tells me that he will do anything for money. So maybe that would be a way of getting him in. But apparently he doesn't want a job right now. So, but he is one who could potentially come in and put himself in the shop window for leaving immediately in the summer. He could be a Marco Silva, but there's no one else. Like, the two people
Rooney got fired today. You can hire Rooney.
Did Rooney get fired today?
Yeah, I think he got fired today.
I don't think he did.
Are you sure?
Let me see. I think he did. I just saw something online.
No, they just hired him an assistant.
Yeah, they just hired him
this week. They've got Mike Phelan.
Mike Phelan assisted to help with him. Yeah.
Oh, maybe he didn't then.
Yeah, he didn't.
That happened 8 hours ago. That's not happened. Oh no, that was a press. He did a press conference 8 hours ago about hiring Mike Phelan. So, it doesn't matter what we do now for the rest of the season. To be honest, it's all planning for next season. I'm interested to see, you know, which players keep fighting, because I mean, for a lot of them, it's like shop window time. That's all we'll get out of these people now.
It's crazy to say how you break up with your feelings. Like, I ain't trying to feel none of this, so let me just dead all hopes now, and then if something lucky happens, we'll take it. Martin, did you say who you think will win the podcast derby between you two next week?
You know, like at the beginning of the podcast, I was like affected by what happened in our last two games, and I underplayed our chances, I would say. But now looking at how we play and who we have, and you know how bad Southampton is, unfortunately, it's a very, very bad team. I think we'll actually win pretty easily this game. I think so, because if we keep playing the way we play, like I said about adjustments, Angie doesn't have to make any adjustments. Just play that style against Southampton. It will work. Southampton, it will 100% work. So plus, I forgot one thing. You know, I was thinking, maybe they can score because we're so bad defensively. But then I'm thinking, who will score? There's a reason when I picked my fantasy team and I had to replace a goalkeeper, I'm like, who's playing Southampton next? Okay, let me put Martinez in, and he got me clean sheet, of course. Because
who's top of the league, Martin?
Huh?
Who's top of the league?
Liverpool.
Yeah. Did they keep a clean sheet at St Mary's 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, but you might score one goal, but you don't really.
we scored two against Liverpool. But
you're not really that dangerous. You're not gonna create 10 chances against Tottenham. I don't think you can. I mean,
they only need 2.
Creativity. That's the biggest problem. You're not as bad defensively as us, probably even better defensively than us, but you're really bad offensively. That's the thing. You know, you're really, really bad offensively. And
who knows, if your players are diving in like they did against Chelsea, Tyler Dibling's going to win us like 3 or 4 penalties.
This the most confident Lee has sounded since 2 minutes ago when he was like,
anything is possible with the Tottenham team. Can we lose to Southampton? Sure. I don't think they have enough, you know, up front. If they had like some offensive players that can score, but I don't see that.
I just think it'll be a chaos game. We had that against Liverpool. Liverpool was chaos at home. I think this one will be chaos as well, because you'll come with a high line. You'll come and want to pass the ball. We like to press. We play fairly open as well. I think there'll be goals. I don't want to call which way it'll go. It'll probably be a Spurs win, because in terms of the quality on the pitch, obviously, you know, Spurs have more than us. But, you know, it's Spurs. That's always worth saying. And yeah, I think it'll be open. I think there won't be a clean sheet for either team. It'll just be, I think it'll be good for the neutrals to watch, because I think it will be a chaotic shit show. Just depends who it's going to be more shit for.
I guess we'll see. We'll watch that. There's Champions League. I'm trying to look. I feel like the most exciting game that I saw in the Champions League was like Juventus versus Man City, and then, you know, let me see. let's see, Dortmund versus Barcelona could be a little something.
Oh yeah, I think for me that's the one I'm going to watch if I'm going to watch any of them.
Yeah, and Barcelona's kind of struggling right now. They lost 3 points. They dropped points like last minute of a game this weekend. Like, and Hansi Flick made some weird substitutions where he took players out, game winners out early. Like they were leading and he took them out, and then the kids he put in didn't hold up their end of the bargain. So yeah, they're going through a little struggle right now, but again, we'll see. I don't think he'll pull any players early. He won't pull out. Like he pulled Rafinha out early. Pulled I think your boy Lewandowski out early, or Lamine Yamal. You know, and I know he's trying to manage people's minutes and stuff like that, but you know, you're trying to win the La Liga. You just have to, you just have to keep those players in. So Juventus Man City is also a good match, and
don't sleep on Atalanta versus Real Madrid. Atalanta are a problem for people.
Yeah,
and that could be a fun one. Leverkusen Inter, I think, will be fun to watch as well.
I don't think it could be a fun one. I think it will be a fun one, 100%. And yeah, and Atalanta Inter, yeah, those teams. Who won the league last year in Italy?
Inter, I believe.
Yeah, so it's like, is it? Yeah, that's why I asked, because it's like there's two champions from the 2 different leagues in Europe next year. I think it was Inter. It was Inter. I think
Inter.
Yeah, so the 2 champions, the German champion versus the Italian champion. So that's a big one. Atalanta, Real Madrid. Yep, that's a good match. What do you guys think about the MLS final? And I know you 2 guys watched that a lot. Galaxy coming through.
The first 20 minutes are what I imagine Spurs Southampton will be like. They were like 3 goals. It was Galaxy raced into a 2-0 lead. Ricky Puig replacement did a great job putting a through ball through for Paintsil for the first goal, and then the second goal was nice as well. A really good improvised finish. And then New York pulled one back, and it was just tense for the rest of the game. Chances either way. Both teams were playing hard as well, so it was it was a fun game to watch. It entertained me for the evening. But yeah, Jovic's finish was great. It was interesting seeing Forsberg for Red Bulls. Like, he was the one trying to get them back in the game. Obviously moved from one Red Bull club to another, from Leipzig to Red Bulls. Like, he was swinging corners in that were causing problems, and it was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, Galaxy 6 titles, LAFC 1 title. It's becoming pretty clear that Galaxy is the most successful MLS franchise of all time. And
do they have the most titles?
Yeah, they have the most titles, and they were a little bit in the shadow of LAFC for the last 4 or 5 years, because they're in Carson. They don't have this glamour, but they survived. They rebuilt. They hired, I think, the manager that before got a title with Toronto, I think. If it's the same guy that they had, I think that's the same guy.
Greg Vanny, he was manager of TFC.
He got them to Toronto to their only title. So very good manager, and Marco Reus won his first final probably. He's an MLS champion. Made adjustment without Puig. I think Maya Yoshida, your Southampton guy, won his title. Yeah,
he was a captain.
Would he be starting for Southampton right now or not?
No, he's 36.
But like watching him play, would he fix your defense or not?
No, absolutely not, because he's even the slightly weak link in the Galaxy defense, because he's got no pace. He's there because he's a leader and he reads the game well and he's a ball winner, but they have to play someone with him who can move. So he's fine for MLS. He would not. He would get eaten alive in the Premier League right now. There's a reason why he went from us to Serie A, because he was slowing down. He went to Sampdoria and Serie A, and then to Galaxy. He's made the right moves in his career at the right time. I would say that much in terms of pace of the league. Yeah,
I remember him. He was at Southampton for like 10 years, right?
Not quite 10 years. He was with us for a little while, but he's a club legend. Like, everyone loves him. It was really good to see him win something. He really gave his all for us when he was here. Let me see how many years he was with us for. 8. So yeah, not far off 10 actually. 2012 to 2020. So yeah, he was always a fan favorite for us because he always played well. He was really consistent.
Who was this again?
Maya Yoshida, Japanese centre back. But I realized he went to Schalke in the second division of Germany for a season as well before he went to Galaxy after Sampdoria. So yeah, he's a good player, and I'm really happy that he's managed to win a title for him and Marco Reus as well. Really happy for both of them.
Well, congratulations, Galaxy. Let me ask you. So this guy's Japanese, right? Is the pitcher from the Dodgers? Is he Japanese too?
Otani?
Yeah.
I think he might be.
Did 2 Japanese players just pull up to LA in 2 sports and win like the league?
Yeah,
for
talking
LA
about
teams?
baseball. Did you see the contract the guy signed?
Who?
730 million.
$730 million.
Who?
So some guy for New York Mets.
Sosa?
$730 million.
Baseball gives away these unbelievable contracts, like into ages where the player can't play. I don't know how their agents like if you get a team at the right time in the right desperate mode, and I guess it happens in all
765.
sports. How old is the player, Martin?
It with bonuses it will be 805 million throughout his career. 805 million.
Who's watching baseball like that for them to be paying this type of money?
26, and the contract is for 15 years. So
it did exactly. He's going to be
$800 million. That's crazy.
So 11 years after he's turned 30, they're beholden to this guy with this contract just because of how good he is right now. That's crazy. And Salah,
that's insane.
And Salah barely got 2 years, and he's playing like he's in his prime. Let's do fantasy league, and then we can bounce out this piece.
Mm-hmm.
I had a terrible midweek in fantasy football. I redeemed it slightly, although it really annoyed me that I put Salah in my team this weekend. I took Haaland out. I put Salah in. Haaland scores. Salah doesn't even get a game because the Liverpool game gets cancelled. So I've got a real fantasy football curse going on. I even took a points hit to put Saka in instead of Salah after I'd already made the transfer, and then he did nothing. Again, I was praying for VAR to give that goal at the end, but I know a bunch of other people have got him in their team as well. So yeah. So for this game week, I outscored Martin. Martin got 42, I got 47, but the midweek put Martin up ahead of me because he did well with he had captain Salah midweek, and obviously he balled out against Newcastle. Was it midweek?
Yeah. And he did.
Yeah.
And and then the weather. So the hurricane ruined you this weekend.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I still got some points from people. I had Visser in there, did well for me. Bruno did okay for me. Palmer did well for me. The big disappointment was I captained Watkins. I thought he's going to destroy us. Our defense is terrible. And then they benched him for Duran. But then they brought him on in the second half and he did nothing. So I got 2 points for a captain, which is a disaster in fantasy football. So yeah, I didn't have a good one overall in the two matches this week. Yeah, Martin's jumped up to 16th though because of his midweek.
Ashley Young got 15 points.
So yeah, Martin did okay. I'm down in 22nd.
Damn.
Ahmad Zekri is number 1 at the moment. He's still holding it down up there. He had Palmer and Bumo and Chris Wood did the business for him this week. Brian Avina had a little bit of an off week. Palmer and Bumo and Wood did the stuff for him, but he didn't captain any of those guys. So yeah, who did he captain? I think he captained Salah and he did nothing. So he got the Saka points. So yeah. So that's how it's looking right now. I've put Salah back in for this week though, because they got Fulham at home. So I need Salah to do something in that one. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
All right. Anybody got anything they want to plug? Martin, any movies and stuff coming out? Lee, any shows?
Not yet. Soon though. Soon I will.
And what a tease.
I got a couple of shows in January that there's a link to on my Instagram page, Lee Hudson Comedy. One of the shows is they're both in London at Top Secret Comedy Club, and one of them is me hosting a show called Ask the Comedian, which is billed as a reverse crowd work show, so the audience have to ask the comedians questions. I did it at the end of a Fringe, and it was super fun. So there's a club in London let me do it. Probably the best club in London, and I got six friends on that lineup, and the audience just have to ask crazy, stupid, wild questions, and then the comics try and be funny with the answers. So we had a lot of fun doing it in Edinburgh.
That's cool. That sounds like a shit. That could be your Kill Tony. So yeah, everybody check that out. And we'll check out Martin's secret projects when they're coming out, whenever he tells us. I don't know. It's like movies aren't selling. You better tell people so that they know, so that they can watch them. For me, still got my special coming out next year. I'm just in the middle of editing it, and nice. I'll just be kind of like local. And follow me on Instagram at Ian Edwards Comic, and like and subscribe.
How was your podcast. Texas and jumping across to St. Louis or somewhere Memphis. You went as well? Memphis. Oh, Texas and Memphis weekend.
Like I just got back. It's been tiring. And then I had to come back and go get my car today. So all the shows were fun, and did the improv in Addison on Thursday. Then I had a day off, so I just stayed in Addison. Then the next day flew to Memphis. And then my hotel was like right up the street from the Lorraine Hotel where Martin Luther King got shot. So I went and like stood in the spot and just like, damn, like try to, feel history a little bit, and did a Don't Tell show there, did good. Then the next morning flew to Houston and got some food, rested, meditated, and then did the show, and then jumped on a flight at 6 a.m. this morning and landed in LA and just kept moving, and then got the car and all that stuff and set up for the podcast, and now we're here. So it's been good. But the good thing is I'm in town for the rest of December, so I can that was like a hectic trip, small amount of time, got it in. Now I can just chill. All right. Yeah, Martin, I'll come by this week, check out your art.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
All right, everybody. Sometimes we forget to say we forgot to say Happy Thanksgiving on the Thanksgiving episode. Let's say Merry Christmas throughout this December for these episodes. Everybody's going to be a lot of football. There's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be some losses. There's going to be some wins, but everybody love each other. Let's enjoy all this stuff and have a good time and take care of each other. And we'll see you next week. 1.